Right at the start, we see this strange city built deep underground, like 1,000 feet below the surface. This city's called Ember City. There's no sky here, no sun, not even a single star visible at night. The only light people have in this dark underground place comes from big electric lamps hanging over the streets. About 200 years ago, when the surface of the Earth became unlivable, scientists built this underground city to survive. They knew that in 200 years, the air above the ground would be clean again. So the key to leaving the city and the secret exit are. It was locked up in a strong box. The city's rule was that after a mayor died, this secret box would be passed on to the next mayor. Nobody knew what was inside because their only job was to guard the box until the timer ran out. But when the city's 7th mayor suddenly died, no one could tell anyone about the box. It got lost in some dark corner, and along with it, the only way to leave the city disappeared. Now 200 years have passed, and there's a severe shortage of food and essential supplies all around the city. Scariest thing is that the big generator that used to power the whole city keeps breaking down all the time. At any moment, all the city lights could go out forever, and if the lights go out, everyone will be lost in eternal darkness. It's this fear and worry that leads to a special day being organized for the city's 16-year-olds. Today, they'll decide their jobs. By lottery, they'll find out which part of the city they'll work in. The main girl in our story, Lina, really wanted the messenger job. He gets it because the job lets him run all over the city, but luck takes him straight to the spot where they're fixing water pipes. Meanwhile, a boy named Dun wanted to work on generators so he could learn to fix them, but he ends up as a messenger on foot. Both of them get disappointed with their jobs. As soon as the event ends, Dun suggests to Lina that they swap jobs. Lina happily agrees. Dun goes downstairs to check out the generator work, and Lina puts on the messenger's outfit. Dun's thought. As soon as he steps into the main generator room, he figures out how to fix the generator. But when he gets to the worksite, he sees just how bad things are. The inside parts of the generator are rusted and falling apart, and even the workers there have lost hope. Dun realizes that no one else has the skills to repair the generator anymore. Meanwhile, Lina, happy with her new job, is running all over town. As part of her work, she delivers letters and secret messages from one place to another. But during one of her runs, the city's situation takes a turn for the worse. Suddenly, the entire city goes dark. Then suddenly everything went pitch dark. People started screaming in fear. The lights actually came back on, but everyone felt a deep fear creeping in. Lina went back home and saw her little sister, Poppy, playing among the old, messy stuff in the room. While playing, Poppy found a small metallic box behind an old wooden cupboard. The box's mechanism was broken. Some papers had fallen out from inside. Poppy didn't understand the papers and was tearing them into pieces and putting them in her mouth. Lina quickly rushed over and took the papers from her sister's hands. Lina noticed that on the papers, these writings aren't just any ordinary stuff. They're pretty old and look like some secret instructions or maybe a map of the city's streets. But the pieces of paper are so scattered and torn that nothing's really clear. Lina wonders, what exactly are these strange papers? Do they show some route in the city's maze? Or is there a bigger mystery hidden behind them? She gathers all the ripped pieces and carefully starts arranging them on the table. As she tries to piece them together, she realizes it's not just a regular letter. There's something else going on here. The city's mechanisms and design are written about, but ordinary people have never seen them. However, since many words were half-cut or torn, Lina couldn't fully understand the whole mystery on her own. She remembered her classmate, Dun Harrow. Dun was always curious about the city's machinery and its history. The next day, Lina went to the pipebox area of the city to meet Dun. She told him about the secret torn paper and asked him to come to her house. Hearing this, Dun became curious. As soon as work was over, Dun came to Lina's house. When Lina arranged everything on the table, seeing that old message, Dun's eyes went wide. On the paper, Dun spotted some technical terms hinting at a secret tunnel or door beneath Pipex. Dun told Lina that these writings were probably left by the scientists who built the city. Maybe this message holds a way out instead of being trapped here forever. They decided that Dun would keep an eye on the tunnels around Pipex, while Lina would search for this thing in the city officials' records and old documents. Dun then headed back to Pipex. He went to this place where there were huge water drains and old pipes, and started investigating alone underneath them. In a remote spot, he suddenly heard footsteps. Hiding in the dark, Doom saw a heavyset man secretly storing a huge stockpile of candle wax, new clothes, and supplies inside a locked room. While the common people of the city were struggling to get even one meal and suffering from lack of goods, right then all the best supplies of the city were being hoarded in that room. Even more shocking, Doom saw that man sitting there comfortably eating food. The current mayor of the city, along with his trusted people, was secretly stealing good food and supplies from the cities for their own use. Dun realizes that the top officials in the city aren't thinking about saving it at all. Instead, they're looting everything for their own benefit. Dun carefully gets out of there and tells Lina everything. When Lina finds out about the mayor's crime, she's stunned. Now Lina and Dun understand that there's no point in relying on the city administration anymore. They'll have to solve the mystery of that torn paper themselves. They need to find the main road out of the city. Otherwise, selfish people like the mayor will drown the whole city in darkness. At the same time, Lina learns that their elderly grandmother at home is getting sicker by the day. The city's medical situation is really bad. In a faint voice, Grandma tries to tell Lina about something she lost many years ago. Lina realizes that time is running out quickly for her family and everyone in the city. She decides with Dun to get the plans for that lockdown area of pipewalks. She'll take a closer look and head straight into the tunnel to find a way out. But at home, her elderly grandmother's health keeps getting worse day by day. Grandma is always rummaging through the old, messy drawers around the house, mumbling softly that she's lost something really important. Lina can't quite figure out what Grandma's talking about. The next day, while she's working, Lina tries to quietly tell the city's assistant officials about the mayor's injustice and the city's secret exit door, but none of the top city officers. A regular messenger girl ignores her and instead warns Lina not to talk about such dangerous things. Lina realizes how blind and selfish the people inside the city's administrative system really are. One night, Lina comes home to a heartbreaking scene. Their grandmother has passed away. Losing their grandmother, Lina and her little sister Poppy are completely alone. But even in this tough time, their kind-hearted neighbor Mrs. Murdo stands by them. She gives Lina and little Poppy shelter in her home and takes care of them. He takes responsibility. Meanwhile, Dun Pipeworks keeps exploring new paths in the tunnels every day. He starts checking out the old metallic mechanisms and locks behind those massive water pipes. One day, while wandering around a dark, spooky corner of the tunnel, Dun spots an unusual mark on the floor. On the wall, some old symbolic words are carved, which strangely match the clues from the torn paper Lina and Dun had. They realize they're on the right track, but just at that moment, a huge, dangerous shape appears in the dark tunnel. A mutant creature living underground in the dark for 200 years tries to attack Dun, a huge earthworm-like beast. Dun barely escapes using his cleverness and makes it back home. As soon as he gets back, he meets up with Lina. She shows him a new word written on a piece of scrap paper. It talks about a special key behind a deep pipeworks tunnel in Kylie. They both realize that the path out of Ember City isn't just any door, but is connected to a waterfall and the power of the river's water. It's a complicated machine all connected together, but they have no time at all. The city's generator has started shutting down completely for a few minutes every day. Every time the power goes out, hundreds of people on the streets scream and cry in fear in the darkness. Everyone can tell that the city doesn't have much time left. Dun and Lina decide that without fearing the mayor, they'll go back into that locked tunnel and this time see the actual mechanism for opening that mysterious machine or lock with their own eyes. But they didn't know that the mayor's trusted. The guards and watchmen have already started keeping an eye on their movements. The next morning, Lina and Dun reach that dark drain in the pipeworks as per their secret plan. Dun leads Lina through the familiar path to the end of the tunnel, where a huge flow of water goes down. There, Lina starts matching the torn piece of paper with some old letters carved into the wall. They notice an iron panel hidden on the wall, and behind it, there are two old metallic mechanisms or levers, which Lina and Dun understand. If you pull these two levers together, a secret passage hidden underwater will open. But here's the problem. To open that panel, you need a special key or handle which isn't there. Dun starts searching for the key in the dark all around. Just then, Lina, who had come on a routine patrol to guard Rose's room, shows up. Using a small tunnel at the back, Lina and Dun manage to sneak out. Once they're safe and outside, they both realize they don't have much time. The mayor's guards are now on high alert, and the security at the pipeworks is tight. It will increase even more. Lina tells Dun that instead of going to the chief police guard in the city, they should figure out the mystery of this torn paper key on their own. When Lina gets home at night, she starts examining the parts inside the box that Poppy found again. She notices a small metal handle attached to one corner of the box that Poppy probably couldn't open while playing. Lina pulls the handle out with all her strength. When she holds it, a relieved smile spreads across her face, because this key belongs to the secret panel of the pipeworks. A fit shape, Lina sends Dun a message that they've found the secret key to get out, but the city's situation is getting even gloomier. The generator shuts down 3 times in an hour. People gather at the central square demanding answers from the mayor. Seeing things getting out of control, the mayor uses the mic to falsely reassure everyone to stay calm. Standing in the crowd, listening to the mayor's lies, Dun decides that tomorrow morning they'll take that key, go down the tunnel, and find a way out of the city. She wants to, but Lina gets scared thinking about the people in the city. How can they just leave thousands of people in the dark and run off alone? Dun explains that first they need to find a way out, otherwise no one can be saved. Lina and Dun decide to secretly enter the tunnel early the next morning and use the box's key to activate that mysterious path. But that morning, while Dun was tidying up his room, a few city police officers suddenly stormed into his house. The mayor's guards had the lead on that device that was thrown into the tunnel. Don and Lina have been declared traitors of the city. The mayor has accused them of breaking the city's law and order and spreading panic among the people. Don barely manages to escape through the back window and runs to warn Lina. At that time, Lina was at the messenger's central office. Don sneaks up to her and says that the guards are searching for them all over the city, and posters with their faces have been put up everywhere on the mayor's orders to arrest them. Now, the only way for them to survive is to head to the pipeworks immediately. Opening the secret passage, Lina realizes they're no longer in a position to reveal the truth to the public because the mayor's guards have the whole city on high alert. She tells Dun to be ready with the key and map to the secret tunnels and pipeworks. Meanwhile, she'll head there with her little sister, Poppy. Dun carefully disguises himself and sets off toward pipeworks. As Lina is heading to Mrs. Murden's house to get Poppy, the mayor's chief of police spots her and grabs her. Lina is taken straight to the mayor. They take her to the private office. Sitting Mayor Lina down in front of him, he coldly scolds her and demands to know the secret behind that old torn paper. The mayor realizes that this teenage girl has uncovered some big truth about leaving the city. Then, frightening Lina, the mayor threatens to lock her up in a tiny dark room inside that underground tunnel where no light ever reaches. Lina fearlessly fires back right in the mayor's face, accusing him of stealing all the good food and supplies from the city and hoarding them in his secret room. She betrayed the city. Hearing this, the mayor was shocked and got really angry. Right at that moment, the whole city's fate took a dramatic turn. Suddenly, the power went out and a thick, terrifying darkness spread all over the city. The generator shut down, and the lights in the mayor's room went off. Using the darkness to her advantage, Lina shoved the lamp off the table, freeing herself from the mayor's grip, and ran out of his office into the dark. Struggling to find her way in the darkness, Lina Chin arrives at Mrs. Mordor's house and picks up his little sister Poppy in his arms. He knew no one knew how long this blackout would last, so this was their last chance to escape. Lina, holding Poppy, rushes through the dark alleys and narrow streets of the city, heading straight for the entrance to the Pipex tunnels where Dun is waiting for them. At the very end of the tunnel, Dun waits anxiously for them. Seeing Lina arrive safely, a bit of relief comes over Dun's face. Without wasting a moment, Dun takes the metallic key from Lina's hand and fits it into the panel's slot. The key. After getting perfectly stuck, Dun started turning it with all his strength. The old iron gears, part of a mechanism that's been around for years, began creaking and shaking loudly. Dust and rust, built up on the walls for decades, started falling off. Suddenly, from beneath the tunnel came the sound of a huge metallic lock opening. A part of the wall, which hadn't had a door before, slowly slid away, revealing a new tunnel shrouded in darkness and gloom. Lina and Dun aimed their flashlights inside and gasped. They saw something inside. There's a huge room. On the floor there are rows and rows of special wooden boats or rafts lined up. Now they fully understand that the people who built Ember City had put strong metal ropes and 2 wooden posts next to each boat right at the exit. Dun quickly sits his little sister Poppy on one of the wooden boats and asks Lina to get on. But the boat was tied to a giant iron cliff or mechanism under the bright sun, meant to lower it straight down into the rushing river below. Dun with one hand. He holds onto the boat's rope with one hand while pulling on the locking lever with the other. Lina hugs Poppy tight, gripping the wooden handle of the boat firmly. With a strong push, using all their weight, the whole wooden boat plunges down into the dark, rushing river below. The current is way faster than anyone imagined. It's pitch black all around, with the loud roar of the water echoing. Massive rocks and sharp metal pipes hide beneath the surface of the river. The boat gets slammed hard by the water, swinging violently left and right as it speeds through the rapids. Lina grabbed Poppy tightly with one hand, and with the other she clutched a bundle of books, trying to keep the boat from smashing against the stone wall. Water splashes soaked them from head to toe. After moving a bit, the river turned into a steep slope leading straight into a dark tunnel. Before they could even process what was happening, the boat started speeding down that steep watery slope like a roller coaster. Lina and Dun screamed in fear, but their shouts were drowned out by the loud roar of the water. The air inside the tunnel was so cold that their breath almost froze. After drifting through that darkness in a strong current for quite a while, the river suddenly started to slow down. The boat was now very close to the surface, where there was a long ladder fixed to the wall for going up. That's when Lina and Dun realized there was no chance of staying down there any longer. Lina tied her little sister Poppy tightly to her back, and Dun grabbed the torch and began climbing the old iron ladder. The ladder was super steep and creaked like it was 200 years old. Because it was old, many of the iron steps were so rusty they looked like they'd break off and fall any second. Dun carefully stepped on each one, guiding Lina along the way. After climbing for a long time, their hands and feet grew tired. Slowly, the air inside the tunnel began to change too. Instead of the usual burnt oil and machine smells from underground, they felt a strange fresh breeze, something they'd never experienced before in Ember. Suddenly, Dun looked up and stopped at the very end of the tunnel. They see a huge metallic stone lid or door. Dun tries to push the heavy door upward with both hands, but because of years of accumulated dirt, it doesn't budge an inch. Lina and Dun give it one last shove, fully opening the door and step out onto the ground outside the tunnel. The moment they step outside, their eyes widen in awe. But the light they were hopping for wasn't what they expected. They reach the surface world in the dead of night. The sky is filled with millions of silver stars and a giant bright moon. This time, outside the little city candles and the flickering lights, they saw the biggest sky and the countless stars for the first time in their lives. Lina and Dun stared up in awe. They touched the green grass beneath them, something Ember had never had before. The air was so clear that every breath filled their chests. Lina started crying with emotion, while Poppy began playing with the grass with her hands. But after a while, they saw a strange light rising from the mountain peaks around them. The darkness of night slowly faded away, spreading a reddish glow over the eastern horizon. They started reading. Lina and Dun stood there frozen like stone, trembling with fear, watching an incredible sight that no one in their town had seen for centuries. Slowly, a huge glowing orb, shining like gold, emerged from behind the hills. Lina and Dun couldn't believe their eyes. This was the sun they had read about like a fairy tale in Ember's old books. When the sun's sweet light touched their faces, they realized just how breathtaking and beautiful the world above the ground truly was. All around them they could see vast green forests, tall towering hills, and a blue sky. But even in this joy, a deep shadow of sorrow falls over their minds. They remember the thousands of people from the city who are still trapped thousands of feet underground in that dark well. As they walk around Dun Hill, they spot a deep chasm or crack. Looking down that chasm, their eyes catch a tiny flickering light deep in the earth. They realize that right beneath the hill they're standing on, their hometown was once built. The city below Ember then wrote a letter, tied it to a stone, and dropped it down. The letter said they were alive and that the Earth's environment was now totally suitable for people to live in. Hearing this great news, the people of Ember City started dreaming of a new life. And that's how this amazing adventure movie ends. So viewers, if you liked the story, please give it a like. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe and stay with us.